Welcome to Real Estate Coach Uncensored on Inman News, where you'll find the best practices, tools, and technology tips to help you grow your real estate business. Here are your hosts, Bernice Ross and Greg McDaniel.
Welcome. I'm Bernice Ross, the CEO and President of BrokerageUpandRealEstateCoach.com.
And my name is Greg McDaniel, the co-host and co-founder of the wildly successful and popular podcast, Real Estate Uncensored. But today, Bernice and I are together, Real Estate Coach Uncensored.
Greg, I had my Women's Leadership Conference last week, Awesome Females in Real Estate. It's our 14th conference. We've been at it for a while. And the women who attend this are the women who lead the big companies in real estate. Sherry Chris is the CEO of Better Homes and Gardens, Taunee English, CEO of Exit Realty, plus a whole lot of other women who hold senior positions in the industry. And I want to share with our viewers today some of the key takeaways from that conference. In fact, our session today is called Awesome Takeaways from Real Estate's Leading Women. So Greg, the first thing I want to talk about are a couple of trends. The first one is there's a whole wave of distressed properties that are going to be coming on the market because all these people who have been in forbearance, if they haven't been able to go back to work, then they're going to probably have to sell their properties. And that's really a shame, but that's what may happen. And with more lockdowns going into place over the last few days here, even, it's a little bit of an issue. But so what are some of the things that you can do to take advantage? I don't want to use the term take advantage of this, but to help the people that you work with be prepared. And I want you to dust off that old stuff if you were around in 2007, 2008, 2009, when the downturn took place, about how to do short sales or foreclosures. But also, people sometimes, one of the strategies that they use, Greg, they would rent their current house out, so they got that income and go into a rental, which was smaller, but then they could move back into their house when they got a job, or they could downsize into something else. Now, there's some real opportunities in this. What are some of the things that, looking back in the past that you would have done given that situation?
Back in 2007, 2008, there's a bunch of people here in the Bay Area. Well, not a bunch. There was a couple of organizations that went and got, corporation cash, and they went out and they bought everything under the sun. They got a couple $100 million. A couple of the groups got $1 billion or so dollars, and they went out and, they were buying 25 to 50 homes a month. And then what they would do is they would, buy the homes and then average them out, and they would, keep two, sell one. So they'd rehab it, sell it off, hold the other two, rehab them, rent them, hold them. These guys, I don't know how much money, but there's a lot of zeros behind their income after that. And then it's a genius play because it helps the homeowner, it helps the investment group, it helps the real estate community. And then the investor on the backside, when the market came back and then some, now they're offloading the properties and they're just making an absolute killing in regards to what they're doing. And they didn't do anything unethical, immoral, nothing that goes against humanity. They were profiting, but they were also helping. And so what I would say is that start looking around. What is always up? What is up is always down. What is down is always up. So when someone says it's a bad thing, okay, let's reverse how we look at things. Let's find something that's going to bring value to the community, value to your bottom line, and value to everyone involved so that everybody can get something out of this in a very positive way.
Well, one of the things you can also do too is see if you can locate one or two people who are really good in terms of credit counseling and a good bankruptcy attorney for the people who need that, so people can come to you and you can give them some ideas. But if those ideas don't work, then you want to have something to help them navigate through what they're going through. So the second trend that I think has hit the brokers, and unfortunately, if your broker gets into trouble, you may not have a job. But what got companies through in the past, and I've seen 4 downturns. This thing that we're in right now, it's not a downturn, but it's just so different. I mean, it's just so disruptive. Everybody agrees on that. But what kept these companies afloat during the downturns were their mortgage and title business, because they were losing on the brokerage business. And right now, the brokerage margins are so thin, the battle is over mortgage and title. But what's happening now is that gets automated. We're going to see a reduction in the fees that are being charged for mortgage and title, because the more automated it is, the more cheaply they can do it. So we're going to see a big trend in that. And what that means is if that money dries up, then how can you have other kinds of revenue streams? Now, one of the women I interviewed is named Taunee English, and she works in Beverly Hills, and she's like a probate broker, kind of a solopreneur, except she's got 8 or 10 bookkeepers working with her on all the things that go on around the probate. She has another business where she has a number of, she's working with, she has a business that helps people who are autistic, who've got autistic children. So she's got a lot of psychologists, I assume some psychiatrists working for her. And then, but what she does, and this is where there's an opportunity for you as an agent, she got licensed a number of years ago to sell insurance. And all she does is when a deal closes, she says, would you like to purchase some life insurance? I'm licensed to sell it. Or she could refer to one of the agents who works for her, but would you like to purchase some life insurance to, if something happens to you, it'll pay off your mortgage in full.
That's interesting.
And she says the beautiful thing about this, while her brokerage business has been, because she's a probate specialist, the courts haven't been open, so she's not doing probate deals because you can't close them, but let's go to court. And what's happened is she gets these residuals, every year on these insurance policies, and they add up. And the thing I loved about what Taunee described, she described 3 different kinds of income. The first one is green, where you trade your time for money. The second one is gold. This is passive income, where, for example, it might be, owning a property is not necessarily passive, but that is, or, if you've got something where you've got money coming in regularly. But the thing that you want to get to is is purple. Gold's passive income, but purple is residual or royalty income. And that's things like, owning, having, there could be an interest in, the stock market. It could be something else, but that income comes in regularly. And it's something that you don't have to physically go out and do. For me as a trainer, I can cut my training once, but then it's available on playback. That's the kind of residual income she's talking about. You do the job once and then you get paid for it repeatedly. So in real estate, that's something that you can take a look at, but also keep your eye on what happens on that trend, because it's very important. I think we're going to see some interesting things take place over the next year or two on that. Now, I want to talk about kind of the second big category here. And Sherry Chris and Tammy Bonnell, who I mentioned earlier, talked about being contrarians. And the guys I worked for in LA for 20 years, when everybody else, during the downturns, when everybody else was selling their companies, they were acquiring market share. They were acquiring companies. What everyone else was doing, they did the opposite. They were always contrarian thinkers, and that gave them 50 to 70% market share. Beverly Hills, Brentwood, Bel Air. They were just, investing in the things that, where the opportunities were. So the question is, what can you do to make a contrarian move in your business? So what are you doing that other people aren't? What would be a different move?
One of the things that we're doing is we are doing a lot of, we're doubling down on marketing right now. So I'm actively launching, as of this recording, an 18,000 person, campaign here in my local area using cold text messaging. We're staying DNC compliant, of course, very positive. We're bringing value, education to the people through text messaging. Once they opt out, then they stay, then we take them out of the program, but we're going to consistently and persistently bringing value, bringing education, bringing opportunities for them to, do something positive. Like we did a buy one, get one free pizza that we launched yesterday, getting fabulous responses on that. We're really going hard because we know right now people need positivity in their life. They're craving something that they can latch onto that's not negative about whatever that's going on in their universe. And we're just doing that every so often. And people are literally coming out of the woodwork going, thank you for this. This is so kind. Why would you do this? And I responded to them, because I want to bring something nice and light and bright and joyful to your life. This is from me to you. And people love it. And a lot of people run in fear because I can't do this. I don't want to, talk to people right now because it's not right. But I say that Why don't we have a positive conversation? What, like you're from the women in your event, everyone's saying, let's be positive. Let's bring light. Let's look at ways to, bring a value, like the gal who did the green, gold, and purple. I mean, that's fantastic stuff. I mean, what an awesome opportunity to look at Mr. and Mrs. Buyer and go, hey, why don't you buy this life insurance? Something happens, you'll cover your mortgage and you're free and you don't have to worry about losing your house. That's awesome.
So, a huge takeaway, Tiffany McQuaid talked about the very thing that you're describing about the pizza. And one of the other things, they took some of their key clients and she just had flowers sent to their homes, and again, it's like bringing that positivity that you're just talking in. She did the pizza thing. It's not that expensive to do. And what's it, to get, for what, $10, $12, you get this kind of response, that's money well spent. So my friend Fafi Moore had a really interesting observation. She was the 5th woman in history to be president of the Las Vegas Chamber of Commerce, and that's in 105 years. So, she's got some awesome networking skills. But the thing that Fafi was talking about, she says, what all realtors do is, they just say, well, what makes you different? Well, it's my customer service. Well, what does that mean? And what she went on to say was very interesting. She says, nobody would say that they bought an average house for an average price from an average realtor. They wouldn't tell anybody about that. Mm-mm. What you have to do is you have to upgrade the experience so you can make it a, gosh, that was amazing experience. And Fafi used the words, it has to be a compelling experience. And she described what happened with one of her clients. And this woman, who was a personal friend, had gotten she was buying a new house, and the builder had given her 150 pages of stuff regarding the changes and a whole bunch of other stuff. And she was so overwhelmed. She called Fafi, and Fafi says, send it over to me. We're going to go through this page by page. And if her client had signed that, she would have signed away all of her choices, a whole bunch of rights that she would have had against the builder. I mean, it was a horrible situation. And that, do you think that woman is not singing Fafi's praises everywhere? Because she is, of course. That's the difference between, an ordinary experience versus a compelling or a, wow, that's amazing experience, is solving that problem that they need to have solved. Now, I have some really interesting advice from a number of different women. So we're going to run through some of these and we'll talk about some of the apps that they suggest. We've got some fun ones. So the first one comes from Gina Jones, and she was on our show last week about Zoom. And she says, instead of talking about the new normal, let's talk about the new better.
Yeah, I love the new better. The new normal drives me absolutely banana cakes, and I go right up the tree on it, because nothing, absolutely zero about what we're going through right now is normal. And if you say it is, that is not right. It's not normal. But the new better is so much more positive, because again, it's changing your point of view, your mindset, how you view things. Right? Look. We all like to go into the office. We all like to hobnob with each other. I like to get the free coffee and go see what Bob's doing down in the other corner office. But now we get to sit in our shorts or our comfy pants. We get to work at home. We can go sit in a park. I mean, that's better. That's not a bad thing. That's a great thing. You can get a better relationship, like you said with the gal earlier, with her teenage son. This is positive, good, light, and bright stuff. But you got to start seeing it that way. And I love how that mindset, just small verbiage shift.
Well, Annette, who was on the show, Annette Anthony, who was on the show last week with Dina, she said, take the word impossible and you need to reframe it into I'm possible.
Yeah. I heard a very powerful stat the other day that when you think of a negative thought, it's 4 to 7 times more powerful, right? When you say the negative words out loud, it becomes 40 to 70 times more powerful. And so I love this saying again. Instead of saying, I'm impossible, it's impossible. You say, I'm possible, it's possible, because your mind will automatically reset. I challenge everybody right now who's watching this video or reading this article, whichever one you're doing. Well, obviously you're watching us, so if you hear me. But yeah. But there you go, Greg. Chalk one up from genius on that one. But if you sit there and you actually say these words out loud, say it's impossible, or if you say I'm possible, feel the energy difference in your body. I immediately get uplifted when I say I'm possible or it's possible.
A huge takeaway on that. Now, my friend Vanessa Mark made an observation I haven't heard anyone make in the moment I heard it, it just felt so right to me. And that observation was one of the things the pandemic has done, it has created this loss of routine, but it's also blurred the line now because we're working from home between home and work. So one of the things that she recommends, she says the way that she had gotten her family back together and getting her kids from, watching, movies and playing video games at all hours of the day, is that she set up specific times that they have certain family events, whether it's dinner together or whatever, it may be.
Yeah. I make for myself here. I mean, I live in my property, and I make it a very defined difference. I do not sit on my couch during the day. I certainly limit I don't go to my bedroom to lay down for a break or whatever it is. You know what? I treat my day as if it's a business day, because it is a business day. I write out my goals, and I go through my checklist. I make sure I hit my checklist. Once I get done with my checklist, I allow myself to be, okay, what would I do if I was in my office? Oh, I'm hungry. Okay, well, either go to the kitchen, get some food, or go to the store and act as if you're going to like Trader Joe's or something like that to grab lunch, come back, eat your lunch, sit back down, go back to work. It's very regimented. Just treat it like a normal day. And if you can wrap your head around that, it's not hard. Just go back to what you used to do. Just now do it in your house. It's that simple.
Exactly. And one of those things, especially, is get dressed to go to work, because you've got all those years where you've got dressed to go to work. Getting dressed to go to work I do my hair every day, whether I'm going anywhere or not, or being seen on screen or not. Makeup's another story. My friend Courtney Polos, who is she's based in LA and really creative marketer, but she has done something that I found surprising, because she was telling me, when we were doing our interviews for this, she was like triple booked. She was running, she did our interview when she had a inspector walking through these buildings, and she just stopped and did the interview right there. Great thing about being mobile. But she said what she's done is she has declared one day a week as a tech-free day. And with that, she's a single mom, she's got a teenage son. She has been able to spend a lot of time with her son. And she says, I've gotten to know my son in a way that I never would have before. And yes, it's hard to do, but I turn off my phone at 8. I can wait till the next morning. I can't do anything generally at night. And my clients don't know that I have, this is the day that I'm not available. So again, she drew the distinction between availability and accessibility.
Oh, big difference. Big difference. I had a talk with an agent who was struggling with that as well. And I said the exact same thing. So I think, Courtney and this other agent may have spoken, because I told this other one, I said, cut off your phone at 8. The world's not going to burn down till you turn it back on, let's say 8 a.m. or whatever your other time frame is going to be. Control your environment. Or people will run you over. And I love how she's doing that. And she's so right. There's so many parents that are so blessed to have their children at home, even though it might be a big stressor. But you know what? They're having the opportunity to get to know them. To really get to know them, not on a surface level. But like she said, she's gotten to know her son in a way she never could have besides this.
They've been playing games. They've been doing cornhole. I mean, they've been having a lot of fun doing different kinds of things together. But it's like that bond, this is a time that she wouldn't have had and that she would have never gotten back. Yeah. So, that's been a gift. Now, Barbara Bess had some interesting, she talked about eliminating negativity, but one of the things was fascinating. She says, it's gotten so bad on Twitter. She says it's a dumpster fire over there. I prefer to call it a sewer, quite frankly. It's gotten so bad. Mm-hmm. But she says, and the thing I've done, there are people who are posting hateful things on my wall about others, and I have either unfriended them or snoozed them so I don't have to see this. And I'm controlling what comes in to me. And she says, and what that's let me do is let me go to what she calls her 4 A's, which are adapting, adjusting, attitude, and activity.
That is some powerful, powerful stuff. You can't control the political environment. You can't control the weather. You can't control what someone else is going to do to you. You can only, you can adjust your way of thinking. Then you can only control the way you think. So it's your attitude. How are you going to take this? If someone says something negative to you on a social media or in person, you can take it personally, or you can just say, well, I guess that's your opinion. Thank you for sharing it. And then you take activities to counteract that or react to it. It's going to be up to you. And, you know, everyone has negativity. Everyone has people coming at you saying something, blah, 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 about this person, that candidate, or this president, or whatever it's going to be. And you know what? Say, that's very interesting. Thank you for sharing. And then you move on. You just adjust your attitude of like, well, can't change them. And then you just take actions on what you feel is right for you. It's really that simple. But people, I mean, I don't know, people get so up in arms. And the women at your event are so intelligent and they're so articulate and they bring so much value that anyone who's listening to my voice right now, just think about that. Adapting, adjusting, attitude, and activity. Those 4 A's should take care of 90% of the problems in your life.
Well, I love what you said, Greg, because, you know, it's like when you don't interact with someone who disagrees with you and you just say, oh, that was interesting, thank you. And what do they do with that?
They can't fight you on it. I had a conversation with a couple of folks a couple of weekends ago about a subject matter, and these individuals were very staunch on their mindset about this certain conversation topic. And I held an opposite point of view, and I just sat there and I listened. And they asked me, what do you think? And I said, it's an interesting point of view. Let me mull that over, and I appreciate you bringing that up. In my mind, I'm like, dude, you guys are fools, but I didn't say anything. I just said, you know what? I said, that's very interesting. And then you guys, guess what? There was no fight in the dog anymore because I didn't engage with them. And people need the engagement to be mad.
Yes.
But if you just say, you know what? That's a very intelligent thought. I'm going to look into that.
You know, and the fact that you're mulling it over, that's even better. You know, that's a beautiful response. Not good. Don't go into reaction, go into response. Great takeaway there. Now, my friend Cheryl Knowlton, you know, and one of the things that right now we cannot depend on, she said, don't depend on someone else for your well-being, because really it's your mindset, it's your attitude, it's your response.
Yeah, it really is. You take care of yourself. And when I say this next phrase, don't take it as an egotistical thing. You always put yourself first, because when you put yourself first and you get in the right frame of mind and you take responsibility for your happiness, your wealth, your health, and everything else and your mindset, then nothing can penetrate that. If you walk out and you're just like, you know what? Dang it, this is a stinking good day. And someone comes along and goes, I can't believe, and then verbal diarrhea flies out of their mouth. And you're like, okay, well, see you later.
You don't have to let it hit you. That's the bottom line there.
No, you don't.
Now, my friend Sarah Kosowski, who manages not only the Malibu, but the Beverly Hills office for Compass, she said, you know, she's been working with her agents, and she said one of the most important things agents need to know is they don't need to change their goals. They need to change their tactics. And she gave the example of one of her agents who came to her just, you know, recently and said, well, you know, I'm missing the spring selling season, and, you know, I need to change my goals and what I'm doing. And Sarah looked back at her production, and she does 80% of her business in the fall.
Interesting.
So what Sarah said to her, you don't need to change anything. You just need to focus on making your fall selling. It's, you know, spring is not your selling season. Fall is your selling season. Concentrate on, you know, gearing that up. And I thought that was such, you know, this notion of changing the tactics, but not your goals or your long-term, your vision. Your tactics are, you know, the actual actions you take. And I love this quote from Sun Tzu. Those of you know, who know of him as the author of The Art of War, one of the classic books of all time. It was written about 500 BC. I mean, it really dates back a very long time ago. And what he said is that my opponents can see my tactics, but my strategy they cannot see. And that's your point of differentiation, is your strategy and how you're thinking about things and how you're going about, you know, it's the thought process in back of the action that will let you succeed or not succeed.
You know, the one thing, Bernice, is that I work on goals. I carry my little red goal book around, and I write my goals down in it every day and everything like that. And, you know, people have always said, you know, Greg, you got to figure out, you know, your what. Don't worry about the how. And because life goes in zigzags and curly cues and straight lines, and then backtracks and then does all this stuff everywhere. And you go, how in the heck did I get to my goal? It's because you kept your goals at the front of your mind and you repeated them on a daily, hourly basis. So it gets into your subconscious. The universe will open up. It will get you there. Don't worry about the how, just worry about the what. And it is so, I think, Sarah is spot on that comment. And it's so powerful, especially since right now, topsy-turvy, world, people kind of freak out and lose bearings, but she's so grounded, and that was excellent advice she gave to her agent. And I think everybody should follow that.
Well, I just think, don't change your goals, change your tactics. Now to wrap up, we've got 3 really interesting apps for you. The first one is Deposit Link. And what this lets you do, instead of having to figure out how you're going to get checks sent out or how you're going to split the commission if you're a broker, or how payments are going to get made, all this back and forth, you can do it electronically on Deposit Link. And I heard a lot of rave reviews from the brokers in the room about this particular tool. And, some of them were having to go into their offices to pick up checks and get them distributed. And, it's just a real hassle. This eliminates all that and does so securely. I think they have 12,000 banks in their system is what their website said. So, the level of security on this is really strong. The second one is something called OneStream Live. And it's onestream.live. But what's different about this, yes, there's Facebook Live and there are other streaming services out there, but this one lets you take your pre-recorded videos, things that you may have produced in the past, and you can now distribute them out to, all the social media sites where you belong. I agree. I'm not certain. I think it'll only go to the sites that you have an account. But the idea here is that you can pre-schedule these, and this really expands your reach tremendously, because you now have it's like I heard about this. I'm thinking, gosh, we can just start posting stuff almost every day on our YouTube channel, because we've got so much content that we can just load that up. And again, that just keeps pushing it out. And then but what I have been doing is pushing it out to the socials, and this lets me do it. So it's not enough that I've got it just on YouTube. This lets me reach the socials. So I'm super excited about this one, Greg.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've been doing live stream. Anyone who knows me, I've been bombarding everyone in my sphere with live streams since it came out. And I use a myriad of different of streaming systems. And this is the only one I've ever heard of. You can upload past data or past videos and then schedule them sequentially into different social media platforms. I'm interested I've scraped the surface. I haven't done a deep dive, but I wonder if you can select individual social media accounts or deselect other social media accounts, so you can just go direct content into specific accounts with specific messages. So you speak to Facebook in one way, LinkedIn in a new way, Instagram, for IG, live, all these different sites. Can you speak differently to these different social media groups? I don't know. It's just a fascinating concept, but just this blanket is just unbelievably powerful. Well,
here's the thing. Absolutely. Because if it's pre-recorded, you can change your voice, and you just need to, you can broadcast to specific groups. Is what it says. So,
okay. All right. There we go. Problem solved. All right.
That's what's on the website. I haven't tried it out, but I intend to learn more about it. Now I want to go to my personal favorite, which is something called Otter, OTTER.ai. And the thing that's powerful about Otter, have you ever attended a meeting and wish you could have taken better notes?
I'm dyslexic. Yes.
All you have to do is turn Otter on your phone. The first 10 hours a month are free, up to 40 minutes on the free version. On the live version, it can go 2 hours or more. I've run it through a whole conference morning. But the thing that's great, it not only gives you, the transcript of the session, takes about 30 minutes to do, but the other thing it does, the playback. So you can, where it's not clear, it thinks I work for realestatecoach.calm instead of COM, but it makes funny mistakes. But what this will let you do, if you need a blog post, all you have to do is clean up, one of the, a part of a transcript that you've got, and you can post that. If you need a social media post and you've done something or heard something interesting, record an Otter, you've got the transcript, it's written out for you. So Greg, this is like perfect for you, because it's just a matter of going and cleaning up what's there and posting it. So anyway, Bernice, final takeaways for today. We've covered a lot of interesting things, from the women to awesome females in real estate, I hope you've enjoyed it. Greg, final takeaway from today.
I think my final takeaway would be surround yourself with powerful, intelligent human beings that have a positive outlook. The women in your organization, in your event, are all extraordinarily intelligent. They're very, tactical. They're going out there making things happen for their agents. So guys, take an evaluation of who and what you're working for and what you're working with in regards to the staff and the brokerage. Go find someone who matches you. Find someone who's thinking outside the box, who's got great apps like this, who's got great mindset, that can analyze your production like Sarah did, and say, look, don't fret right now. It's okay. Your selling season is here. So just keep doing what you're doing. I think that's the most powerful thing. Search out intelligent human beings, spend more time with them, ask them questions, and then act on what they give you when it comes to advice. And don't worry about, how you're going to get there. Just worry about where you want to go, set your mind to the final destination, and then just take action. Immediately take action. Never stop. Be persistent and consistent, and you will reach your goals.
Thanks, Greg. See you next week.
Thanks for joining us for Real Estate Coach Uncensored on Inman News. Be sure to tune in for our next show when we'll be back to share even more ways you can grow your real estate business. For the latest news and analysis, check out the other great stories today on Inman News.